Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Baroness, thank you for that inspiring speech. It makes me feel quite humble. The Onside is a brilliant initiative which supports much of what CIHT stands for in terms of promoting greater inclusivity and tackling the skills shortage. May I take this opportunity to personally welcome you all to the institution's annual luncheon. Hopefully you're all enjoying yourselves. You'll be pleased to know that I'm not expecting a leadership challenge, or hopefully a vote of no confidence, but that may depend on how this speech goes. I hope I can keep your attention span for just a short time, especially those of you up on the balcony who I can hardly see, but you should be able to hear me. Are you receiving me? Table 151. Morgan said, yes. Table 160, Capita. Good. And table 173. There, you're all there. Thank you. It's great to be amongst so many friends today, and this is the one time of year when you get a chance to catch up with many colleagues from around the country that you don't see very often. And CIHT is all about people, a theme I shall return to. So whether you're here as a CIHT corporate partner, a member or a guest, I'm sure you will be enjoying the event. I'd just like to say a few words of thanks. Firstly, to Andreas Mercadis, who was a great president last year, along with the rest of the presidential team who've given me sound advice and support. I'd also like to thank the CIHT Chief Executive, Sue Percy, who you've already heard from before, and also the CIHT staff, as it has been a particularly challenging year, and many of whom have been involved behind the scenes in organising this successful event today. So I'd like us to show our appreciation. A lot of them are up there on table 174. I must also thank my employer, WSP, as without their support, I could not have taken on this role. And it's good to have another number of WSP colleagues here today on table 36, 54, and 55. And finally, my greatest supporter, my wife, Susan, on table 35, who has been at my side throughout the presidential year. But of course, I must thank all of you for being here and all the hard work and commitment that you give to our industry. Much of that goes unnoticed, except by your peers, and particularly this time of year, when we're often working long hours in severe weather winter conditions to ensure our transport networks are kept safe and serviceable. And finally, thanks to members of CIHT for your active engagement in the work of the institution. Without the help of the volunteers, CIHT would not be thriving as an institution and continuing to grow and succeed. I hope that you continue to support us and encourage others amongst you to join. I've always valued being a member of CIHT, which is the most relevant institution in our industry. What I found particularly beneficial is the fantastic networking opportunities that it can give. Getting involved in regional committees can be really rewarding, as it provides fantastic opportunities to learn from each other, share experiences, and support one another through professional life. So what is CIHT doing? Well, I'm actually really proud to be president at a time when CIHT is in a strong position. We have a growing membership of over 14,000 members. We are attracting a younger and more diverse membership with more females joining. And we have over 100 corporate partners, many of whom are represented here today, and I really thank you for your support. We are adapting our associate membership grade to open up membership for colleagues in the support services of our profession. And we continue to play a key role in shaping transport policy and initiatives such as our review into highway maintenance funding and integrating planning and transport, more of which in a bit. My presidential theme is improving the delivery of transport infrastructure and services for people. This is something that CIHT has been highlighting for a number of years. This theme resonates with me as my whole career in both public and private sector has focused on delivering infrastructure and services for local communities. We need to recognise the importance of consultation, engagement, communication and listening to help deliver better outcomes. I hope this is something you will all support. I think it links to the CIHT Learned Society and Technical Strategy Boards. And I'm really proud of all the initiatives I'd led embracing new technology and improving services for people. Inevitably, however, in a long and varied career, not everything goes quite according to plan. And I'd like to share with you one of the more humorous of these such occasions. Any highway maintenance engineer will appreciate verge maintenance can be quite a challenging service to manage, especially if you have a wet season. So whilst I was Director of Environment and Transport in Leicestershire, and I know there's a few people from Leicestershire here today, so you might remember this, back in 2008, we had one of those wet summers, and the following year, we decided we needed to up our game and improve the service. One of the problems we encountered in the previous season was our inability to know exactly where the mowers were, particularly if we wanted to change priorities. So our contractor, who will be nameless, but is represented here on table 8 and 20, came up with a simple idea of installing trackers on the mowers so we could continue to monitor their location. That seemed like a really good idea. So as always, I was keen to raise our profile, and a press release duly went out. It was entitled, "New Mowers Are Cut Above the Rest." It went on to say, satellite technology will be helping to keep Leicestershire's grass verges neat and tidy this year. High-tech grass-cutted mowers fitted with GPS-style devices are being introduced by the County Council. So all well and good, I thought. Unfortunately, what should have been good PR turned into a nightmare, as the local press decided to report we were installing sat-nav on our mowers. This went viral to the extent where this cartoon appeared in the Sun newspaper. So actually, this looks quite festive, but unfortunately, it's not Santa on his sleigh. It's one of Leicestershire County mowers lost on the North Pole, which was really funny, but the leader of the council didn't see the funny side. So you might think this was the end of it, but the nightmare amazingly continued, as the whole issue got raised in Parliament when a former Lib Dem MP, David Heath, asked the following question. So I'm going to quote directly from Hansard here. "I've asked for debates on sat-navs before and for debates on local authority spending. Could we bring the two together and have a debate on council priorities in Leicestershire? I noticed the Conservative-controlled Leicestershire County Council is fitting sat-navs to 14 lawnmowers because it claims there has been unprecedented growth and that gardeners are kept getting lost in long grass." He then went on to say, it would be funny if people were not losing their jobs and if there were not people who needed the help of the council services. And I wonder whether the story puts a whole new complexion on the term county council cuts. So, what seemed to be a good idea turned into a PR disaster. I'm not sure I should be telling you this, but anyway, it was quite a funny story. Fortunately for me, I was well respected in Leicestershire and did survive this incident. So I guess there's always a risk when you put your head above the parapet, and I've not been one for shying away from standing up for our industry. And in that respect, I've been proactively raising CIHT's profile. I've been fortunate enough to represent CIHT and make our voice heard, and with key decision makers throughout the year. We recently gave evidence to the Parliamentary Transport Select Committee inquiry into local roads funding and governance, and in support of this response, we are releasing the CIHT Lugg Review. As I said in our evidence to the Select Committee, that local authority revenue for highway maintenance has reached a breaking point, with some local authorities almost going bust. The situation has been exacerbated by last year's prolonged wet and cold winter, with the multiple beasts from the east creating a pothole epidemic, the worst I've seen in my career. So although we really welcome the Chancellor's announcement in the autumn budget, the £25 billion investment in roads, the vast majority of this will be going on our strategic roads, and that's not to say they're needed. However, other than another £420 million to help address the pothole damage on local road, there was absolutely nothing said about the need for long-term investment on our local road network. So, CIHT Lugg Review will offer scenarios to government in the run-up to the Comprehensive Spending Review, which I hope all of you will support, including considering alternative approaches for the long-term sustainable funding, possibly hypothecation of fuel duty or other forms of user payment. considering alternative governance models to ensure the money is spent effectively and efficiently, and challenging whether the current model of 153 highway authorities is fit for purpose. And finally, considering how we better get a handle on the extent of the problem across all highway infrastructure assets. We're just about to launch a survey on this, so we'd really be pleased to get your feedback, and you can go and see that on the CIHT website. I'd just like to share a few other initiatives that we'll be focusing on support of the growth of CIHT membership. As I mentioned earlier, we're attracting young people into CIHT, and last month saw us hold our first ever Young Professionals Conference. It was absolutely fantastic, with over 200 attendees. As the only grey-haired person there, I felt right out of my comfort zone. But it was so brilliant to see so many young, bright and enthusiastic people from all parts of our industry. Supported by our Young Professional Network, we will be taking the ideas generated during the session to look how we can respond to the future challenges for highways and transportation. We also recently awarded our first Apprentice of the Year award, a competition which had some really inspiring entries for. We shall be showcasing these over the next few months, and I'm delighted we have our winner here today, Erin Rudy, on table 141, maybe up there somewhere, I think. We are building on our highly successful corporate partner scheme by adding 2 new networks for the public and education partners. This will enable professional development and knowledge sharing across different parts of our industry. It would be remiss of me not to mention Brexit. While we all have our own opinions on what could or should have happened, I believe we're all united as a sector in calling for certainty around the future for people working in our industry from around the EU and beyond. Significant numbers of our workers are personally affected by the decisions surrounding Brexit, as we all are, and it's vital that we continue to make the case for our sector to be recognised and acknowledged during these ongoing discussions. I'm sure you're aware there's loads more I'd like to say, but it's time really to get on to the real entertainment, our guest speaker. So just to conclude, I'm extremely grateful for all your support of this luncheon, and I'd like to thank you for continuing to make this industry one we can be proud of. I believe that CIHT can use its influence to ensure we all can continue to deliver improved services for people. Thank you very much.